Hi friends, welcome back to another episode. This is going to be part 2 of a series, Easy Beginner Tricks on Rollerblades. So in part 1, I made a video with the 6 easiest tricks that I could think of for beginners, and this is part 2, just a continuation. So these are still going to be beginner tricks, but just a little step up from part 1. At the end of part 1, I told you guys that they were stepping stones for what's next, and now we're stepping it up to what's next. Let's get started. We're gonna start with the monorail, and this is when you just put one foot directly in front of the other foot in a straight line, perfectly straight, like you're on one rail. If you're skating somewhere that has like painted lines, that's a great place to practice this. I luckily have a piece of chalk in my pocket today, so it can almost be like a fun game. You just try to stay in this perfectly straight line. So just be really careful that your heel and toe don't touch and bring you down. Next one, this is a progression from one of the tricks I showed you in part 1, the toe roll. And this is 2 toes. So now instead of one toe, you're gonna pop up on 2 toes. To do a 2 toe, step 1 is to learn the toe roll that we went over in part 1. You wanna have a really good scissor, one foot in front of the other foot. I usually pop up to my back toe first, and when I'm ready and I'm finding my center of balance, pop up to the second toe. You can also pop up to the front toe first and then add the back toe. I'm on a hill. Or to make it even harder, you can try to pop up on 2 toes at the same time. So you'll skate, scissor your feet, and pop up at the same time. I'm going over cracks, which is not ideal if you're on your toes. I'm also going up a hill. Up next, I used to work at a skate school, and we called these forever crossovers, where you just cross over with every step. It's kind of just a fancy way to like go down a trail or around a rink. You just kind of push off with every step. And this is great for learning your edges, dance, being fancy, flowing. I'm pushing off my outside edges right now. I've heard this called other things like in ice skating, like a cross stroke, things like that. And step 1 for learning this is to obviously learn your crossovers first. Another fancy fun one is your basket weave or crisscross. And this is a progression from the lemon drop that I showed you in part 1. So it's lemon drops, but when you go wide, you're gonna cross a foot in front, wide, other foot in front. So it's just instead of bringing your feet together, you're crossing one foot in front. So bend, cross in front, bend, cross in front. Now this one is a slalom move. You can add cones in the middle. Also just a fun, fancy way to get around if you're just skating on a trail or having fun or learning how to use your edges. So in part 1, I showed you guys how to do a little baby bunny hop. That's how we're gonna progress from there. We're gonna do a forward jump, bending your knees, using your arms, and jumping, trying to get a little bit more height than that bunny hop. Really bend your knees to absorb the landing. And it's good to get in the habit of jumping forward as you progress to wanting to jump over things. So I've got my chalk again. I want to jump forward, so I'll make it about that wide. And you make it the width of your comfort zone. Skate, bend your knees, use your arms, and jump. This next one, I've told you guys about this a lot. Maybe in every single video I've ever posted. So if you've watched my videos, you already know it. And this was also in part 1. And gotta get some speed here. This is your 1 foot glide. Now, I include this in all my videos. I include it in my videos on drills, my videos on tricks, on tips, practicing, progressing, literally everything, because I can't stress enough how much of a core skill a 1 foot glide is. For all disciplines of skating, for setting you up for success with everything you're gonna do on your skates, you need to have a really, really strong 1 foot glide. It's also a trick because you have to balance on 1 foot. Now in part 1, I just showed you how to stand on 1 foot, slight outside edge. So for the sake of part 2 and progression, I challenge you to maybe explore your free leg a little bit more. So you're on 1 foot, maybe you grab your free leg. Maybe you think about a spiral. You could just hold it out in front. You could hold it behind. You could get used to your edges on 1 foot. You could kind of stretch your leg with it. Just think more about your free leg, and don't worry, we'll continue to progress with our 1 foot glide. Up next is our step on ledge roll. You step up, roll, and pop down. Now this ledge that I'm working with, this isn't ideal for beginners because it's really narrow, but I can at least teach you on this ledge. I just want you to know this isn't ideal. It's also kind of brick and cracky, but you'll get the point. In the first video, I showed you a grounded ledge roll, which is where you put 1 foot up and kind of hold it and get used to it. And now we're gonna step up to 2 feet. So the hardest part of this is actually the jump down. But we've been practicing our bunny hops and our forward jumps. So you see where we're progressing now. Now it's a jump down. So you're really gonna have to get used to absorbing the impact of your landing because you're gonna be stepping up. Keep your knees bent, jump down sideways, absorb. So as you can see, I did a sideways jump down. When we're doing our forward jumps, we do want to do sideways jumps too. I should have mentioned that, but that's okay. I actually have a good practice area right here. You can see these lines. It's going to be great for practicing sideways jumps. We're just building the skills for jumping off ledges. Forward jumps, I've picked up some speed, so I'm going every other, and this is a lot of fun. If you can find lines like this, it's a fun, cool trick, and it's gonna set you up for so many more fun, cool tricks, especially if you're going in the direction of street skating, or even more importantly, aggressive skating, because aggressive skating is all about grinding, and when you grind, you're jumping, I'm not wearing aggressive skates, sideways onto a ledge, right? This is a soul stall. I'm not wearing the right skates for this. Again, don't do this on rec skates. The sideways jumping, the jumping on and off ledges, that is the beginner trick, beginner stepping stone for becoming an aggressive skater or street skater. This trick might be one of the easiest ones I'm gonna share with you today, but it's really important and really fun, and it's just a snake. Your feet are parallel, and this is a cruising one, and you're just going side to side. This is a little tricky because it requires speed. So you have to be at a level where you can get enough speed to do your snake or feel comfortable with speed on like a slight gradient like this. And this is great because this is so good for your edges and learning how to use them, because I'm going between my outside and inside edge and I'm just snaking side to side. This is also good for speed control, cruising, and yeah, it is tricky. Like, go out with your friends and do some snaky turns. It feels really good, and it's really fun, and it is easy. This next one, I went back and forth about whether or not I was going to include it on my beginner list. So I'm going to tell you, I think we're now transitioning into more intermediate, in my opinion, the most advanced one that we're going to do today. But I did have it on my list, and I do want to include it because it is really important. And that's a 180. Today I just wanted to give you a little intro, put it in your mind, put it in your brain about kind of what's next is your turning 180. Either jump, which I think is the easiest way, but I come from aggressive skating, or your toes, pop up onto your toes and turn, or stepping 180. Now I do have a full length video on how to 180, actually 3 different ways to 180, and I recommend that you go and watch that video. Oh look, I found a little curve to give you a better idea of what I mean by the step on, jump off. This is better than the ledge that I found earlier. And then you can probably guess what's next. You'll be jumping up, jumping down. That concludes my list for today. But one thing that I do want to talk about is how there's so many different directions to go with your skating. And the more advanced you get, the more that they branch. So I was hoping to be able to sort of give you the roots, the deep roots of learning tricks on inline skates. But as we progress, as we get more advanced, we're branching into different disciplines, right? There's slalom skating, there's freestyle skating, there's flow skating, urban skating, hockey skating, aggressive skating, street skating. And all of these different disciplines have their whole world of tricks and the whole world of progressing into those tricks. I personally, the first 5 years of my skating was all aggressive and street. So I also worked at a skate school that specialized in slalom skating, and I did teach beginner intro slalom skating. I'm not a slalom skater myself, but I have a lot of experience with teaching it. But please go in the comments, tell me, what direction are you going with your skating? What discipline? I get people all the time leaving me comments. Please teach us more advanced tricks, and I always reply, what direction do you want to go? Because the beginner, the basics, that can apply to all disciplines. A 1-foot glide, again, learn your 1-foot glide. I will continue this series and I will continue to share tricks with you. But as we get more advanced, I'm gonna have to branch and pick a direction to go. And with some of these disciplines, I'm still learning myself. Speed skating, advanced speed skating, I won't have the ability to teach you advanced speed skating. And I honestly should go learn it myself just to be a better skater. But let me know, please let me know. What direction are you going with your skating? What do you want to learn next? How are these skills working for you in your skating? I want your feedback. I want to be the best coach I can be for you guys. I love you. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.